Welcome to Moonlight Madness, and today we're doing signs for October for Earth signs, Sun, Moon and Rising. And the decks I'll be using today is the Enchanted Map by Colette-Baron-Reid, Fairy of the Tarot Cards by Doreen and Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette-Baron-Reid. So the first card I pulled is the card for you for the Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn star sign. And she's sitting on her throne, if you can see that. She likes to have all her things around her, her assets, her house, her furniture. She feels happier when she's at home amongst the things that mean a lot to her, like the fireplace and things that keep you warm on a cozy night. I think of the Queen of Pentacles as someone that likes good food, lavish dinner parties. Someone who likes to garden. They may have a green thumb, and they're like a fairy grandmother or godmother. They swoop in and save the day. A Florence Nightingale. You may meet someone who can make your dreams come true. An animal lover and a good and fair boss. What's crossing you is the Seven of Cups. This is like 7 choices. You have 7 different avenues you're trying to focus your attention on. But like fairy dust, that can disappear. Make sure that all these choices or options you think you may have, you actually don't. So you're building castles in the sky, is what it's saying here. It's a lucky time though. So do you focus on career, money, education, love, or your spirituality, your emotional state, and your wishful thinking? Maybe what you're planning is wishful thinking. Ask your spirit guide for guidance. In the past, I've got the pink crystal, the pink quartz, because that represents love and opening your heart. So in the past, you may have had to crack your heart open to a situation or to a person that you had maybe shut yourself off from because of distance or an argument, maybe someone very close, like a family member. So you may have had to shut down that relationship. And it may have then been a rebirth of love with that person you still have a lot of love for. You're cracking your heart open now, and your psychic abilities are coming up. And they're opening up to a new level. Maybe you had to move from an old home to a new one. And you've got balance, which is moderation. So this is also talking about legal situations or legal battles. Whether it's to sign a house, a contract, for a job, anything that's to do with like sort of written laws and things like that. So maybe in the past you had to balance out yourself in an appropriate way to a situation, a legal ruling, a pause, a deep reset on life, and being left in a state or coma-like state to heal. Being open to hearing all viewpoints, everyone's input for a court proceeding. And then I put the black onyx on top. The black obsidian for protection, so you're being protected from harm, which is sometimes you have to be a ward of the state, if does that make sense to someone out there. You might have been a ward of the state. So then you've got the heal. So you were healing from some sort of trauma, whether it be psychological or physical trauma, but it's talking about a trauma that's very painful and it's taken a while to heal. So it says here, it's a time for great soothing of the heart, body, soul and mind. This card indicates that healing will be prevalent in your life now. If you feel drawn to study the healing arts, you'll be very successful in developing your natural capacity to restore others to wellness. However, the message may be you're being called to change your behaviours in order to heal the earth. Perhaps you'll switch to a cruelty-free diet, eat less meat, or perhaps you'll pay more attention to how much water or electricity you use. You're asked to be conscious of your footprint on the sacred earth and all of life, and to commit to the healing path. The heal, the ouch, may also be an indicator of old wounds and broken bonds being mended. Reconciliations are possible, and you're going to let bygones be bygones. And then I've pulled this card up the front. On top of that, we've got the 5 of Cups. That's, to me, lacking of, or feeling you don't have enough resources. So maybe you're just constantly worried about not having enough money for electricity or gas or power, like it was saying in the recent past. So maybe you're just making sure you've got enough money in the bank to cover the bills at the end of the month and to try to be in the black rather than in the red. So that's the 5 of Pentacles. And you've got the 4 of Pentacles, so it's like a story that's it's unraveling. You're feeling challenged and health concerns, maybe asking for divine guidance. Listen to your intuition and look for signs on how to proceed. Magical messages appear on a side of a bus or a truck. So look around for signs. The Four of Pentacles, this is manage your resources wisely. This is coming up for your future. So you're going to try and be more mindful. And it talks about spending and saving money. Help out those less fortunate. Donate your time or your advice to those who need it. Being too controlling and fear about losing prosperity. Maybe you're complaining to yourself or to others. Will seldom put you in high spirits. Manage resources wisely as you are spending too freely or holding on to financially, too miserly. Are you giving too much or not enough? That's what it's saying. So I look at like the Four of Pentacles as like they're covering all their body parts for protection because they're frightened of what's going to come at them. There's the deep freeze. That's like what we've just come out of with COVID. Everyone's been in a deep limbo state, and I think it's causing people to get really angry and frustrated. And there's been the riots over in Italy, and there's riots in France, and there's been a lot of earthquake activity. The last 3 days, I think they had like 5 earthquakes in one morning. One because I woke up at 4, and that's when I tend to sense something that's going on in the world. And there was one in, I think, Iran, in Chile, Argentina, and America, and another one as well, Turkey, I think it was. So there was a lot of seismic activity at the moment happening along the world. There's deep unrest, and it affects everyone. You can't tell me that the earth does not affect the people and the people do not affect the earth. I think everyone is feeling the unrest. It's like I was saying to my son this morning, in the time of Gaddafi, when he threatened with terrorism through, fear-based terrorism, people were scared to get on planes for years because he threatened to blow them up in the sky. And so we've become kind of the same way. We're in lockdown at the moment, and it's like we've been stuck on hold, like in a dictatorship almost. So people are not happy. They're not able to do what they could normally do. The deep freeze is what we've just come through and coming out the other end of. But then how do we proceed from that? So it's kind of like there's still more to think about before we proceed and make big rush decisions like going overseas or moving house. Or you've got to really think these things through logically. Don't just jump or act like the Prince of Swords, who's quite impulsive and does things on emotion and in intuition rather than on logic and reason. So when you're going to make these major decisions or life changes, it's asking you to put it on hold, put it on freeze, on the pause button. The deep freeze is number 26. Everything has its season. Now is the time to put activity on hold while you rest. The cold winter beckons you to slow down and put a freezer. Put yourself on freeze on things that are not yet ready to bloom. You can't force the situation or control the outcome. It's time for regeneration and hibernation. Forgo ambitious activity. It's called, the old saying, a pregnant pause. Allow ideas to gestate, projects to shift and change, and relationships to go through a dreamy state of being. Not going anywhere, not needing to. This is also a time to put all your arguments on ice. So don't open up any arguments that have been dormant. Leave them be. Let sleeping dogs lie, is the old saying. This is also a time to put all your arguments on ice. Nothing beneficial will come from arguing. Self-care is the most important activity now for you. So reflect, read a good book, get a massage, rest and dream. Lose yourself into another world, which is why I like to read, or I do these readings, because it puts me into another environment that puts me at ease and at rest. If you put the news on 24/7, it'll send you crazy. It'll make you more anxious, which is what we're not trying to do. The mental health of the world is not good at the moment, and they've got this new package they're bringing in, which I'm really happy. It's the best thing the government's ever done in my entire lifetime, is to look after mental health for people. So something good came out of something bad. They say in the Great Depression, we went through a really bad time back then, but then the good things that came out of that was building and infrastructure, and we made sure we had vaccines that we've got now. So what we've probably found is that we've discovered all these new vaccines which could unlock something else. We don't know. It's all very unknown Aquarian energy. We're going into an Aquarius age where science and technology are going to be at the top of the pile. That's what we're focusing on right now. Finding cures to diseases that were once not able to be done. We might even find the cure to cancer or to schizophrenia, because I saw that in a vision I had. They found a way to do like a neurosurgery and I think unfuse 2 major receptors in the brain to cure schizophrenia. That's what I saw when I was in post-traumatic stress disorder, when I had like what would you call it? Not a stroke, but kind of almost died, pretty much a past life. Almost died. So when I almost died, that's what I actually saw. that they cured the schizophrenia and the mental health of other people by operating on something else. It was an accident. They accidentally found the cure. So this is what we're going to go into in the age of Aquarius. And then we've got here, so self-care and read a book, chill out is what it's saying. Don't make rash decisions. Not a good idea at this time. If you're making them on emotion, then that's not the right decision to make. I jumped ship and moved state 5 years ago based on emotion, not on logistics. I should have thought about it more. But I thought I was doing the right thing at the time based on emotion. Emotion driven is not always the right way to go. However, if you're intuitive like me and you do see yourself living in another place or environment, I always get told 3 years ahead, or maybe 6 months. Sometimes it's 6 months ahead where I'm going to move to. I get shown signs when I sleep. My astral plane is showing me where I'm going to go to move to next. I saw boxes around myself last night, and I saw boxes around my Auntie Meg's house, which is something to do with movement. So either moving house, selling property is coming in the future, but not right now. So boxes usually means opportunities, or thinking outside of the box is another thing I got for someone. Think outside of the box for a solution to the issues you may be having financially. There's always ways around things. Like this store that I go to, and it's called The Granary, and they have food that's less than most places to go to, and you can get a bag of veggies for $1. I mean, it's amazing if you've got, you're struggling with finances. I'd go there myself, and I told my kids to go there as well, because they're not working at the moment. So then we've got the Prince of Winter. Now the Prince of Winter is Aquarian energy. That's that one. Impulsive, direct, blunt, straight to the point. Maybe a younger energy too. It could be a younger energy, or it could be just like someone who's older but acts younger. A Peter Pan syndrome I'm getting as well. I'm guilty as charged. I'm exactly like that. So it just says here, an Aquarian energy is younger, an intellectual who will manage things for you. They're idealistic, they're decisive, they're focused, and a tad impulsive. They love to do things and make decisions on instincts rather than logistics. They may be acting on intuition. A relationship on ice or on hold is in a deep freeze. They're numbing themselves to emotions of others to protect their own sadness from seeping through, not wanting to burden people with their emotions. And I think a lot of people are like that. We don't want to admit when we're sad because we're trying to be strong for others, and that's what parents do. They should be doing that. They should not burden their children with their own issues. That's for a counsellor or a psychologist, not for their children. Then we've got a Fool, or the Fool energy, again, Aquarian energy. So this is brand new things that are coming about. And the Eight of Cups is to do with walking away from a situation. You've just packed your bags, put your stuff in a truck, and then left the building. This might be happening in the future, 8 months' time, 8 weeks' time. Number 8 is very prominent. So it could be like 8 months you decide to move house. But you've got to do it at a pace that's either too quick or too slow. You have to kind of manage how you're going to do it. You can either do it in major leaps and bounds, which I don't suggest, or take your time to make these life-changing decisions. Because once you make it, you might not regret it. You might think, oh, I should not have done that. Your superpower is a job, a change, or relocation. Leaving a home, you can take baby steps to it, or you go giant leaps, but I suggest baby steps. The Fool is the unknown, which is where we're going to right now in Aquarius age. We're into the unknown, and it's talking about embracing your true purpose, beginning a new adventure, trusting yourself, the Dreamer, and a decision to follow your heart. Express verbally your plans to others to bring about transformation. Say, I'm going to walk 5Ks today, and then do it. Or I'm going to walk 30Ks like I did yesterday and do that. So you're just putting out there what you hope to attract. So movement is always a good thing. If you can't move physically, like physically move house, the best way to move is to move outside. So if you're doing movement, you're still moving, but you might not actually physically move the whole house or move to a new house if you can't right now because of circumstances outside of your control, like COVID. Then we've got 9 of Cups. And that's to do with your wishes coming true, a magical time of life. So whatever you're wishing for the earth signs, the earth rising, sun and moon, it will come, it will materialise, and it could be 8 to 9 months again. Usually Pentacles represents months. 8 or 9 cups usually means weeks, but I'm thinking it might take 8 weeks to decide what to do, and then a further 9 weeks to figure out if that's the right choice, and then you'll think about whether to go or not. So then you've got a change in the wind, which is this one. It's like this snail carrying his home on his back, which is pretty much like I've been living for the past 5 years. Everyone's in transition right now. We don't know whether to move house, whether to change jobs, whether to jump into a new relationship, because everything's on hold. We're in the deep freeze for a reason, because we have to make baby steps. We can't force it. Force it if you can in places that you know won't cause harm. To cause no harm to others is in a doctor's surgery, I read. To do no harm, to cause no harm. So that should be the goal of everyone, to cause no harm to each other, to be kind to each other. A change in the wind is 12. And that's why the health regulations have been so stringent, because they don't want to cause harm to others. Remember the old cliche, well, that's not the right one, wrong book. That is, well, it might be for someone, slow and steady wins the race. That's another message I got. No rushing where angels fear to tread, which is what an Aquarian would do, which is Aquarian energy right now. We're trying to push through and move things and shake things up and blow things up, but it's saying don't do that. So the change in the wind could be the cyclone that happens, or the earthquake, or what did we have the other day? We had a cyclone, that's right. It just comes from nowhere, left of field. It's something completely left of field that no one anticipates. That's what I get from that. So here is a sense that unseen change has been initiated, preparation for a storm, or it could be an argument. Awareness with your plans are not on firm ground. Feeling a shift, uncertainty from which direction the winds will blow. It's human nature to yearn for certainty, and we like that. We resist change. We want the world to remain like the zebra's stripes. Nothing in human experience is black or white. There is many shades of grey. The one guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation, as other conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air. So I've been burning sage for the last couple of days. That's apparently clears the air, clears the energy. So you've got new energy. You welcome the new energy in. Scatter the seeds and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. Relationships go through periods where partners seem out of sync with each other, and stormy emotions and moods threaten to take down the ship. Perhaps someone has a change of heart and leaves. These rough seas offer opportunities for mutual growth, a way for you to understand your own heart better and to know what you need to be truly happy. Rest assured that whatever is happening now, good will come from it. Take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. That's the good advice, best advice I can tell you. Whenever my family's fighting, I take myself out of the picture, out of the equation, because I just add to it, because I get too involved, because I worry about people. So if I'm too involved, then that might upset someone else. So I don't do it. I just keep myself out of the drama. My son likes to get right in the middle of it. I don't choose to do that. That's not the right choice. As you endeavour to create a prosperous life, you may encounter unexpected reversals that cause you to shift directions. Good thing too, there is nothing to fear. Perhaps an opportunity you sought went to someone else. Perhaps you've pursued something that you suddenly realise is not in your highest good. You might not be 100% clear of where you need to go, but you are certain that things are not going as planned. Circumstances are not in your control right now. Wait it out. All will be well. Even better, actually, you've just got to trust in the universe to deliver what's meant for you. This or something better is what I ask when I go for work-related jobs. This or something better. And maybe you have to go 6 steps back or change direction for a little while. And then you can go back into the fray once you're completely healed. And everyone's still healing. You're going to go back into an environment that's chaotic. It's not a good environment. You've got to go into an environment that's calm, paced, regulated, like a hospital. Timed. Everything's kind of set by a certain hour. Between 1 and 3 you have visiting hours. Between, these times you can choose to eat dinner. And the structure helps to put normal things back into place. So by doing the same thing every day, doing a reading a book, going for a walk at the same time every day, resets that clock of disruption that we've just been through, this wind of change in the wind. Then we've got here deep knowing, which is, again, for intuition. Listen to your intuition. 43. But don't act on it straight away. Just keep it aside and it'll appear when it's meant to appear. This is just in intention. Intuition, listening to the oracle within, empathy and hypersensitivity. Intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with Source, the consciousness that you are part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing, and people are taught to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their own journey, to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. My son leaves bits and pieces out of stories he tells me because he doesn't want to upset me. I can understand, but I always know that there's more to the story than what he's telling me because I already sensed it the night before. So it says here, this deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater. The trick is to listen. You're given 100% of 5. It's the mind or senses, but which is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen to the sixth sense. You are now invited into this sacred dialogue of deep knowing. Tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. There are occasions when you just know deep in your heart and soul that a person is going to play a meaningful role in your life. Someone crosses your path and suddenly, out of the blue, you're connected at a level impossible to describe. That feeling marks a moment in time etched indelibly into your soul. Someone has entered your life who will be instrumental to your journey, so pay attention. Two hearts are calling to each other to begin an alchemical process, a blending of silver and gold, if you will. Some of you might work with jewellery. This is also a sign that your intuition about the person you care about is correct. Trust your heart to lead you now. Magic is about to happen. It's a time when your hunches will pay large dividends. If you listen to them, take the risk and act. Within you, there is an oracular consciousness, a higher wisdom, a third eye, a higher and deeper knowing that transcends the machinations of the smaller thinking mind. The intellectual is completely removed from the consciousness. At a deep level of your intuitive senses, you have an access point to the genius of the collective. You can just tap in. The world is all connected in funny ways. We're interlaced. We cross over from what's going on in the core of the earth, the earthquake, or the tsunami, to what is living on it, which is us, land-loving creatures, and the creatures that crawl around in the desert. The energies of all thinkers and creators, all inventors and leaders, and all that you need in order to leap into success are available to tune into. This is an act of listening intently past the busy mind. Your genius awaits. Go on your gut. My son does it all the time. He calls me exactly when I'm thinking of him. Does it every time. Or I'll call him and he was probably having a really bad day but doesn't want to reach out. Again, he's like me. He's proud. He likes to solve his own problems and be a man, and that's great. I think that's really good. But sometimes you need a little bit of help, and you should reach out. Because if you try and solve it on your own, you're not going to get someone else's perspective. You might just have your perspective, and that could be wrong. So sometimes you need to sound out an idea to someone who's logical and thinks clearly and is slow and steady and careful how they, manage their life. They have 5-year plans, or you might have 6-month plans, but these people go on 5-year plans. So if you can operate from a 5-year plan and work backwards from that, then that is the best way to go. Do a 5-year plan, break it down into smaller components, and then move accordingly, as quick or as slow as you need to in order to achieve a desired outcome rather than one based on fear. Fear is a motivator. Yes, it motivates you to move quickly out of the danger, the fight or flight. But sometimes you go from the frying pan into the fire. So be careful where you go and choose to move to. I hope I'm helping someone out there that's an earth sign. So that's for October. That's what I've got for you. I hope it helps. Meditate. Go within. Think about it. Listen to your gut. Your energy field, or your aura. They call it the aura. And it's what you radiate. Picks up on things long before it comes within your sphere of consciousness. It could be 20 k's away. It could be 20 years away. I saw a lady in one of my visions 20 years ago. She came to me in a vision, and I was visiting a place called Japan, and I could sense this woman around this guy that I was very in love with. I was young and stupid. I'm thinking, who is this person? And it turns out it was his ex-partner. Or she was still married to him and he was lying, which is a possibility, very strong possibility. And then I find her 20 years later, not actually her, but her sister, who happened to live in where I live and worked at a lifeline shop. You can't make that up. That is something so left of field, like I'm talking about left of field here. that you just couldn't make it. Like it come out of nowhere. But for some reason I was meant to meet her twin sister who lives in America. And then I saw her. So it's just, I don't know what the two things came to mean to me, that it was twin energy because I've got Gemini in my chart. Or was it that I have a gift to tap into someone else's mirroring energy, because twins mirror each other. One's cranky, the other one will be not cranky, but within a couple of hours they'll be cranky. You can't separate a twin because the twin will always know about its other half, whether it's in a good place or in a bad place. It's a sensing and knowing. They have their own language, their own communication skills. That's a twin energy. So someone might even have Gemini in their chart. I know my two kids have Gemini in their chart, which is the fun, playful side. But they do bounce off each other. They do trigger each other as well at times. So that's the fun thing. They're childlike. That's why you got the Fool. Childlike exuberance is the Fool to me. It is also Aquarian. So Aquarian and Gemini are very similar. They like to have fun. They like to be a bit risky, and they do stuff that people, you talk about it years later, people go, how did you survive that? Well, I listened to my gut. But sometimes that doesn't always pan out, so be careful when you're listening to your gut. It's raw emotion. It can be good, it can be bad. It can be angry, it can be coming from a place of logic. Again, think about it, calm the farm, and then operate from logic and reason. Anyway, so that will hopefully help someone out there.